Coming up next, Marlon Fisher. And the title of his presentation, Still I Rise, the Educational Journey. Thank you, Marlon.
I was born in 1982 to a single mom who was 16 in Brooklyn, New York, and and at that point in time, it could have been a failure for her having me, but she did everything in her power to make sure that I had everything I needed. At one point, we moved to Harlem, New York, where drugs were rampant, but she sat me down in front of the TV. I watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Reading Rainbow. Take a look, it's in a book, Reading Rainbow. I know, but I watched all those shows. I remember all those shows, and one thing my mom did was make sure that my brother and I were really focused on our education and learned everything that we needed to learn, from our ABCs to multiplication tables. Then in 1988, Merrill Lynch and the National Urban League band together and decided to choose 250 students across the country in inner cities and gave us all scholarships to college. I was in the class of 2000. That's a feat in itself, because not only did they give us scholarships to college, but they followed us from first grade all the way through high school. And in order to do that, they had to deal with the issues of kids growing up in inner cities. And they exposed us to a lot of different things, like I got to meet the Chancellor of New York City's schools. We went to, I got to meet the mayor, I got to hang out with David Dinkins and take photos. They had photographers everywhere we went. Everywhere we would go, I got used to having cameras in my face, because they had to document the entire journey of this feat. Again, this has never been done. This is the first time ever. They would invest millions. I even had the opportunity of ringing the bell on the New York Stock Exchange in the first grade, which is pretty amazing. A lot of fun stuff. And as you can see in these photos, these are pictures of my classmates and I, just in New York City alone. The other cities were Houston, LA, Boston, bigger cities, kids that we would eventually meet at some point throughout the journey. The National Urban League also provided us with tutors as well. So throughout the process in the schools, we would have tutors. They would give us, I got my first computer, a Dell 386 with some AOL dial-up internet. The computers, tutors. We also had the opportunity to get internships. And so my first real job as a 14-year-old was at Merrill Lynch, believe it or not, paying. So my first W-2 is from Merrill Lynch, which was pretty awesome. But along with them following us, it opened so many doors. A lot of people think that you just have to pull your bootstraps up and move on, but you can't do it if doors aren't open for you. And so I had to walk through, and I had the opportunity to walk through so many doors that exposed me to different things I wouldn't have experienced in my life if I hadn't had this lucky opportunity happen. And so I got to go to summer camp. I spent as a 10-year-old across the lake in Westport, New York. So a New York City boy in Westport, New York, and I got exposed to different sports. I learned how to play lacrosse. I learned how to, different leadership skills. I got used. My love for the wilderness was born here because of the doors that were open for me. I also learned leadership and team building skills, and how to be a good man is one of the biggest things that I learned being from this camp, this summer camp, and this opportunity that was presented to me. Here you can see that's me, 16-year-old me, taking a soccer kick. But all this success came with failure. In my junior year in high school, I decided to drop out of school and not take the opportunity. But one of my mentors said, if I send you to boarding school, would you go? And so I decided to go to boarding school, and I saw great success at boarding school at the Gunnery at the time. And then I kept trying college. I graduated, I kept trying in college, and that didn't work out for me. and then I decided to join the military. I joined the Army and served 8 years in the Army and learned, again, all the skills of dealing with different people. Success and failures was traveling the world, and just sort of teaching people. Teaching people and just learning. Okay, this again, these opportunities. Another skill that I was able to develop was being out in the wilderness. I got my woofer, the wilderness first responder. I'm sorry, I'm following the photos. After getting out of the Army, I had children, and I decided to go back to school. And I would take my son to class with me to finish, to get my degree. And that was one of the things that I said I would finish my degree before my kids were old enough to know what it is, so that I can also be a perfect example for them. Again, my love for the wilderness, I went and got my woofer, so I can, think on my feet and improvise and learn how to save lives, and which is really a really important skill when you are, out in places where there aren't very many resources. And then, so we come back full circle. In just about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, I completed my degree here in Champlain College, and it just felt so good. Thank you. And that opened, and again, when you get a 4-year degree, that opens more doors for you and more opportunities. And then recently, I went back to the high school I graduated, my alma mater, and started working for the school I graduated from over 20-something years ago. And I get to share my life experience with students who, are destined to go to college but aren't sure if they want to go just after high school. And I get to stand in front of them, not every day, but most days, and share this story, share parts of this story with them, and let them choose their own path, their own educational journeys through successes and failures. Thank you.